Hi guys!
Hi.
Welcome back to another episode of the Truth and Tales podcast with your favorite host, Yemi and
Victoria.
Right. So welcome back guys. So today we have another interesting tale for you guys. You guys should sit back, relax, get some popcorn, cup of tea, cup of zobo, whatever it is
Cup
that
of
you
zobo.
have.
Or kunu.
You know, or kunu.
I miss
Because
kunu, eh? God.
Lord, because it's zobo I like. That's why it's zobo that quickly came to my mind.
My husband likes zobo too.
God. What we have for you guys today
It's plenty.
is
Opo.
and it's one that I'm sure that we'll take one or two things from. So yeah, sit back and relax. And if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, before you continue, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button. It's better you do it before listening to the conversation, because after you just be carried away, you'll be typing comments.
And you will miss the next
and
episode,
you
which
know?
is also very interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So please click on that subscribe button and just enjoy the conversation. So Victoria,
Well, this one will go read it because
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Okay. So today is a tale. One of us sent she sent this message a while ago. I've just not been able to understand how to start because it's just so much. But there's just a lot that I believe that a lot of us can also learn from it. I would also like to hear your feedback. What do you think, she should do in this situation, right? Okay, so I'm going to start reading. She said, Mrs. Fash, greetings. I hope this email finds you well. I must let you know that I'm obsessed with your channel, blah, blah, blah.
Aww.
Also send my greetings, blah, blah, blah. Let me get to where the story starts. Okay, she said, she first of all apologized because she knows this is going to be a long one. She said, my name is this. She's 38. She's American. I met her husband. I'm going to call her T and the husband D. Okay. I met D, a 36-year-old Nigerian man, online somewhere around 2020. I posted about joining some online business and he responded. The business did not work out, but we remained friends online. Right. 2021, we began dating officially. We got married in January 2022, sorry. So they met
so they were first
online
for like 2 years.
Yeah, in 2020. They started dating in 2021 and they got married in January 2022. Okay. Interesting. After just under 1 year of dating. So they didn't date up to 1 year before they got married. Okay. I knew marriage came very quickly after 1 year, but I also understood that due to immigration process, we would spend at least a year apart after marriage and we will use that time to get to know each other. D is the most gentle person I've ever met. Okay. I feel very safe with him. I prayed hard about our relationship, marriage, and I feel as if I got a confirmation as this was indeed my person and this marriage was a good step. After the marriage, I had a hard time returning to the United States without my husband. Although I felt I was mentally prepared for it, it was rough in the beginning. I started to notice D was a little more patriarchal than I realized, and not necessarily in a bad way, but his idea of respect and how a woman should respect her husband is quite different from the context that I was raised on. Remember, she's African American, and this guy is a proper Ijo Nigerian
man.
Okay. And then she said that respect is earned. That's how she was raised. I feel I have immersed myself in my husband's culture. I want to know everything about Ijo. It is exciting and makes me feel closer to my ancestry. Okay. And wanting to know where my family is from. Also, it is necessary for my husband to do the same in order to understand how I operate. Suddenly, my husband seems to have strong opinions about Americans. For example, saying American women are controlling or uses the term "you people" a lot. I try to explain to my husband that I identify as T, not American, that that's not a proud term for many blacks here, as I could also judge him by the 419 scams that Americans hear about Nigerians, but I've accepted him, D, as the great man that he has been to me, a child of a king, the child of the Most High. In the beginning, communication, well, first of all, I think the first issue here is challenges between being raised, cultural clash between the two of them. So I think that's the first one. And I think that when you're interracial marriage or intercontinental marriage in this case. That's one of the biggest issues that you would have. And I think because a lot of people, Africans, Nigerians, we are especially now that everybody has jackpot, the high possibility of you marrying somebody that is out of your culture is definitely something that you need to look out for. Sure. And then she's talking about power outage and all those things. But let's continue to the main issue. Or do you have something to add to that?
No, I think something that I wanted to just highlight is the fact that she said that she did pray about it, even though they met in a short period of time. Yeah. She said she prayed about it and she feels like, she got confirmation. So because that's something that people we talk about faith a lot, praying about things a lot to get clarity. But she did mention here that she got clarity. Just to put that
for me, I still feel like a person that you met online that you don't really know anything about, getting married under 1 year of dating is quite abrupt.
Our own idea is that because
she did mention,
they will now
get back. Which like to me again is another issue, because you don't marry a person and then get to know the person. No, you marry a person that you know, because that's what I don't know if I've read that. Extent, that you get married and then you now get to know each other and build friendship.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that? For me, I just feel like, don't marry somebody you don't know, and then you not get married and you're not trying to get, because that's where issues like this start. How can you not know that is patriarchal? Like that is
exactly. Like they didn't have that conversation to that point. That,
and you see, these are not even things that you would have conversations about. These are things you will see, you will notice.
But she was in Nigeria at the time.
She was in. I think she came to Nigeria. They got married. And she
went back. Okay. So she just came back. She just came for the wedding.
Yeah, but anyway, not judging. No, I just feel like, to me that's like.
Yeah, no, but it's a concern, because normally you know somebody to an extent.
Yeah.
Then you now say like, oh, I know you so well that I want to be the life with you.
Exactly.
Then you now go. But in this case, they were friends. They dated a little bit and they felt like, okay, let's get married.
And because of papers again. And I totally understand that, because bringing your spouse in America can be a lot. So they want to like fast track everything.
Yeah. Okay. So now here begins the issues. These are the issues now. In the beginning, communication was a real challenge for us because the power outages, that's like in Nigeria. No lights. And my husband being a mariner and working on a ship 30 days a month, a lot of calls was filled with swish, and he can't talk long because he's managing power, because it's been out all day. Finally, heading into year 2, we seem to have a routine down packed with which pretty much was me waiting for my husband's call. Then I won't be annoyed when he doesn't answer or take too long to call back. And it worked well for us till the day I came to my husband and said, we are so much into a routine now, it has taken the romance away. I want a sweet good morning call, or be able to call you and say good night, because we are on a 6-hour time difference. My husband's response to this is anger for some reason. And I made an even bigger mistake and said, I don't like to call him. I want him to pursue me. She said, I made an even bigger mistake and said, I don't like to call him. I like him to pursue me. But she then put in bracket that the truth is, it's just less drama when he calls her. But my husband is fixated on what wife wouldn't call a husband, right? That one statement has turned into a big thing to the point my husband says, I think I'm a princess, or like, I think I'm better than him, which the statement is so far from reality, but we can't seem to get past it. It's been one small problem after next, and everything I tell my husband I like or would like for us, he makes a statement declaring that he will never do it or never allow me to control him. Whereas simple issues we never resolve, and I feel like in order for my marriage to work, I must compromise on everything I want, because my husband has this insecurity about Americans. My husband and I now have only surface level conversations. He refuses to go deep with me. I want to talk to him about saving and purchasing land together. He makes even conversation difficult as I ask him things like, let me know the proper way to come to you. I want to talk about something and he responds like, do you have sense?
Like, do you have sense?
Or you're not a serious person.
Okay.
So imagine like a Nigerian person saying, do you have sense? Or saying, you're not a serious person. Okay, I'm always asking what does that even mean, and he refused to break down how it feels to me, or jokes that I write him 20-page letters. I won't fault him here because
this 20-page letters, man.
which I write so I can manage my words, make it sound soft, compliment him on something. I'm that intentional. A lot of times I pour my heart out to him, tell him how I'm feeling, and he won't even respond to what I wrote or says it's emotional blackmail. Literally, my requests are often like, can we make effort? Keep spark going. Can we try virtual dates? Just make sure we stay connected. It makes it the most difficult thing. And it really hurts me that I can't be vulnerable as a wife, put my heart on the line, and my husband doesn't say anything. Or if he does, he picks arguing. He picks arguing points out of what I wrote and always respond to that. I watch a lot of Nigerian relationship content, and people say Nigerian men may not be affectionate or emotional, and I try to give him grace based on that. But my husband brags that his parents have been married 40 years. He prides himself on being a great, honest person. Yet, I don't get how he could be so cold towards his wife and ignore my feelings. I'm worried that once we live together, his mentality and the way he handles me will definitely feel like emotional abuse.
So the one of the things I've seen here is time difference,
Yeah.
power outage,
Yeah.
and then personality difference,
Personality, yeah.
slang difference, going back
Communication.
to culture again,
Yeah,
communication
and
difference,
culture.
and it's plenty. What since you are doing that? I would say for the time difference, I know that can be a very big challenge because
Yes.
I have experienced 6 hours difference,
Yeah.
and then sometimes it gets to 7 hours, or is it 5 hours? Yeah. Anyway,
And they change the time. Yeah.
That's a lot, and it takes a lot of commitment to do a long distance marriage. I've done long distance relationship, US to Nigeria. I've done long distance marriage, US to Nigeria. So I know that it takes one person not sleeping for the marriage to work. You see, because sometimes when I get back from work, it's already like 12 a.m. My husband is awake because we have to talk before he goes to bed. So he goes to sleep, and then by the time he wants to sleep, I've not even slept. I'm still awake. So it's always a matter of how do we, and that conversation needs to have been had. I don't know if you guys discussed how do you plan on keeping this
relationship,
your communication, your marriage, everything going whilst you are apart, right? Because those are things that you need to have conversations about, because that can be very, very difficult. And again, he's a mariner, so he's always on the ship.
Offshore.
You talked about not having life, which is a reality, and it's a lot of things that I'm telling you, a lot of Americans cannot relate to. Even people here too, they can't relate to that. But it's a reality for us that you have to charge your phone every time that there is light to take advantage, and then lots of times your phone, the power will be off. So you need to get power bank, you need to get all of this. Now, if it's even working onshore, that's even worse, because of, loss of communication.
Yeah.
So those are things that you need to understand that, okay, these things, happen, and you need to find ways to compromise, not just you, both of you.
Yes.
So that's why I feel like that conversation is something that should have been had before.
But I think, in my opinion, I think they had something similar to that, because she said they were fine with their routine at the beginning.
Yes.
They knew when they would call each other. They were fine with the routine until she realized that they started to lose that spark. It started to become like
mechanical,
more mundane, and there was no spark anymore. And probably started to feel like when they were friends than now that they are married. So she wanted that pursue me, that thing. And he is not getting that. He's not getting, because already she might feel like she's like you mentioned, that the challenges with both countries are different. There's challenge of NEPA. There's the challenge of his job. The nature of his job also does not give him that much time. So there's time difference again. All of those challenges that he feels like the routine was working for him, because he knows to set his phone available for so time. If so, he might feel like I'm compromising here.
Yeah.
I'm putting in the effort here. Then the moment she comes and say, I want you to pursue me, this is how it will sound in his ear, that I want you to
So
pursue
everything
me.
I'm
I want
doing
you
is
to
not pursuing
so
you
everything
enough.
I'm doing is not pursuing you enough. Like
disregarding everything I've been doing.
Especially for somebody that also has insecurities, because he has insecurities of the way they are.
Yeah.
Ignoring the fact that she might also have insecurities, but because his own insecurities is a lot, and he has expectation as a man. A Nigerian man, the expectations is very high of their wife. Usually, if he was married to a Nigerian woman, she's the one that will be calling. She's the one that will be. She will leave text message. That once his phone comes on, he will have series of text messages, updates, everything. They will be the ones doing all of that.
Yeah.
But she doesn't get that. She's
right,
not,
because and she said she has seen a lot of Nigerian marriage, and I can't remember what she said there.
Yeah, being affectionate and then also
a
some
lot of, you know, when I asked one of my friends, we're talking about Ijo men. When if you see, there are a lot of toxic masculinity in Nigeria, but you see Ijo men, they are on a different scale. They like honor and respect and all those things. My husband's friend was saying that Ijo men they are different.
They like respect.
They want you to respect and honor. That's the way they are brought up. That's what they are brought up to believe. That when a woman is serving you, she kneels down. She does all these things. You understand that? So I understand that you try to learn about culture, and you see when. I'm sorry to say, I'm not saying this is what you mean, but a lot of Americans, when they talk about learning culture, they learn about the traditions, the nice ceremony about this. But there are a lot of toxic things that also comes with some of our African culture that it takes a man who is enlightened to understand it. And then you mentioned about, men being very masculine. A lot of I know a number of people that are dating Americans. The guys, they are all over their wives. Like they do everything for their wives. They, at least most of them, not some class of them, especially anyway, I don't want to get into that. People will come for me. They like if she's going, there was one that I know, if she's going to the bathroom, he's following her. Like they are very, very in touch with their feelings.
Yes.
They are brought up to express how they feel. Which is not a typical Nigerian man. Because a Nigerian man does not, what is feelings to him? Even my husband, as good as he is, I still have to bring out emotions from him. Because he's not a natural person that'll just be talking about emotions. You understand that? So you need to understand that there's a dynamics between, and you need to get that it's, Africa have beautiful cultures, but a lot of also toxic cultures also in Africa, just like they have with African Americans also. So it's just dealing with both of your, your excesses that I think, is an issue.
So, like if it was like, I was saying that if it was a Nigerian woman now, she would be the one to go all out. So I think in that area, in that respect, I would say if there are things that you like, want him to do, or you have to be very considerate.
The way you even say it, you will say it in a way that it doesn't like
it's not, and then you will put it in summary but soft. If you are trying to be nice to him, put it in a sweet, in one line.
Don't write plenty notes.
They don't. They will
read it.
Don't carry this. Especially considering that he spent the entire day working. He's back. He wants to check in with you, and he has to read a lot. He has zoned out. So when you now come, whatever you are doing, sometimes it then feels like you're nagging. Especially when, and there's somebody that you're seeing face to face now. When we're communicating, I can see your body language, I can see your expressions, I can tell what you're saying. But if people are just talking on the phone, I'm angry here, but you can't see that I'm angry. Because when somebody is angry and you see it, there's a way you tone down, or where you so this lady is coming, having spent all her entire day missing you. You have spent your entire day working, and she's coming there, do this, do that. He's tired, and he's like, I beg. And that's why I would probably say, do you have sense? Or
and that's another thing that we need to talk about, because there are a lot of slangs that we have in Nigeria that an American will consider it insulting, but it's not to us. To us, it's just normal bant, right? Which is not right, to be honest. I mean, in some extent, personally, I don't like those things. Don't tell me my head is not correct. Don't tell me you have sense, or all those things. Personally, I don't like it, and my husband schooled in Benin, so he knows the job people very well. When we just started dating, they have so many slangs that he would just say, like, what kind of thing are you saying? You understand? But there's a way that you would communicate that to him, that I don't like when you use certain words with me. It doesn't communicate love and affection, or it rubs me up the wrong way. Can we try to tone down on this. And you too, on days that he comes out, knows that especially you can't. My husband only schooled there for 4 years, and he has all those, like, imagine a person that was born
there.
You understand? So some of those things are a part of him.
I think to give the woman a little bit of credit as well. I think the man is not also making an effort
we'll
to
get
help
to the
out.
man. We have not started. We are just talking about you now. We'll get to the husband
because I don't think
story has just started.
Because, like, for example, that is a slang.
Yeah.
And you keep saying it. She doesn't know that it's a slang.
So you need to explain.
She doesn't. You need to explain it.
That what does that even mean? But he needs to.
You need to explain that.
See,
and there's some slang too, to be honest, that you cannot explain.
Yes.
Like, no evidence.
But
you guys explain.
That's the problem also. When you are married somebody intercontinentally or someone that has a different culture, you need to be ready to do a lot of explanation. You can't just assume that the person would understand as if you married somebody from your culture. So it depends whether a man or a woman. You have to understand that these are certain things, compromises, or certain things you have to learn how to do because you're marrying from outside. I remember there was a guy who sometime last week I saw on social media that he said the wife he married a Jamaican woman and the wife cooked their Jamaican food, and white rice was somewhere, leaves was another place. Then she put one orodo, one pepper somewhere, and that's the way they eat their cuisine, and it's lovely. And the man was complaining that he wants to eat apple, he wants to eat. Why didn't you marry an Igbo woman if that's what you want? But you married somebody else, so you have to make compromise. Either you teach her or you get somebody to do those cooking for you.
Or you buy it outside. Yeah, exactly. Or you buy it outside. Eat the one at home with love. It's not that. It's not that. Anyway, that's issue number 1. Here goes challenge number 2. Problem number 2 is social media. And she's really very intentional because she segmented everything with heading. So imagine how she's sending this to her
because she mentioned that when the man says he always write 20 pages letter to her and stuff. And I can see it from the email. That's why it took me so long to attend to this because I didn't know where to start from. And me, I like stories. I would also say learn your husband's communication style.
Yeah.
When I met my husband is a writing person. He likes to write and text. I'm a talking person. I don't like to read long things, right? But my husband, I realized that he likes to write and all of that. And I would read. So my husband would text me during the day, and to him, it feels like, I've checked up on you. But to me, as long as you've not called me, you have not checked up on me. So you understand, you need to understand what is his communication style and what is mine. And you try to look for ways to balance each other. Now, my husband calls, when he knows that when he's talking to me, he has to call me.
Yeah.
Or even if you cannot call because he's on Habo, instead of sending him text, if he doesn't like to read, and which a lot of African men, unless an African man that actually enjoys reading and enjoys learning, a number of them don't like reading. So you need to understand, is that you send voice notes and try to keep it as short as possible. I understand that there's a need to talk, to pour out your heart and stuff. Pour it out with your girlfriends and then summarize it for him. Give him highlights, send a voice note. If he prefers voice note, send voice note. Don't send letters or don't send text messages, especially long ones or emails. That might, that might be because your communication styles are quite different and you've not understood what his communication preference is than yours.
Yeah, that's a good one. Right. So problem number 2, social media. So she says, during the dating phase, my husband and I flirted online and commented on each other's statuses. He made a lot of funny, witty posts. We also wrote the most romantic, lovey emails back and forth. After the marriage, we talked on the phone a lot, so my husband stopped responding to my love letter emails. I later realized that the love letters he wrote to me so sweetly were not his words. It was romantic things he found online.
Because that's what we just talked about. When you think it's coming from his head.
They play.
And it's because the man saw that she likes reading words.
And then he was trying to get her.
He was trying to, get her attention, to appeal to that side of you. Because I've done this before and I'm not going to lie. Because my husband will send me poems early in the morning. He will send long poems and everything. And the only thing I will say is, oh my God, this is so sweet. Thank you. And to him, it feels like that is so, like I took my time to compose poem for you. I know you can say thank you.
Your case is better. You put, just like, great. I'll just, okay, with one emoji.
Yeah. So at a point, I had to go online to help my situation. Like, what I did, then I would change the words and stuff. Because writing is not, poems and all those things, texting is not a thing for me. Right? So don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
He's just trying to pursue you, and men will do a lot of things to be able to get you. But I think the issue is him misrepresenting who he is.
Yes, and
Now,
now he's not able to keep up.
That I'm not a text person, so anytime I text him, he knows I'm making an effort, right? So I think that he should not have misrepresented who he is to you.
I feel like if she knew, because there are certain things that sometimes you do for your own sanity, not for the other person. You know the way women will buy themselves flowers, give it to their husband, and ask him to give it back to him. Because you know the kind of person he is, and you're helping him help yourself.
Exactly.
So in this case, that you used to send this thing and he used to send you lovey-dovey, it appealed to you at the time and you enjoyed it until you found out that it was online. You could have. There's no need to make him aware that you just enjoy that.
Yeah, enjoy it.
And take it.
It took the effort
to copy.
Some men will not even try. I'm
even surprised that even tried.
Care.
Sometimes you just have to do that for your own peace, because it's a case of, especially it's in marriage, there's no flea. So you have to fight for it.
Yeah.
And fighting for it will come in different ways. Sometimes it will mean you staying up 6 hours time difference to speak to him. Sometimes it will mean that your emotions, sometimes it will mean that you speak to your girlfriend first, like you suggested, and give him summary. Or whatever it is you need to do to fight for that marriage, you just might have to do it, especially this long distance. But anyways, let's go on to this particular challenge. So I later realized that it was, were not his words, it was something he found online. It wouldn't have bothered me much if they were not word for word what was online. Also, after marriage, he stopped posting on social media and stopped responding on my post. His excuse was it could be like a target for kidnapping if people realize he's married to an American, which there's a truth in that, or people may think he has money. I accept that until I saw on his Facebook a few months after the marriage, he blocked me from seeing his comments on other women's pages. But there were a few women he commented beautiful or something like you look great. Nothing too flirtatious, but it shocked me to see and hurt me because I never imagined before this day my husband disrespecting our marriage, even with the distance. When I confronted my marriage, his response was, prove it. Well, I didn't think to take screenshots, and he then adjusted the Facebook again where no one can see his comments and blocked me from his TikTok. Now this has really been an issue for me. One, I'm so proud of being married and excited about it. I didn't imagine myself in a secret marriage. Two, it broke my trust for my husband, and part of it is lingering. It's the face he didn't correct, the fact that he didn't correct the behavior and move on instead of saying prove it, or I don't know what you're talking about. So he moved on to saying prove it instead of like addressing the issue. That's this section on social media now. This part.
For me, I can relate to the part of when we finished getting married. My husband met me on Instagram. Every post I made, he will comment, oh, lovely, oh, very inspiring, oh, kiniko. We got married, finished. My husband stopped all forms of social media.
End of discussion, case
Even
closed.
our wedding picture, my husband did not post. I had to ask him, like, I was the one that posted it. Look, who are you hiding from?
Who he
wasn't hiding. It just felt like what I'm looking for, I've gotten it. What am I still doing on social media? Right? And I will post. If you go through my content, hardly will you see my husband. He will like it, but he won't comment. We'll talk. He will come home and we'll talk about it, but he won't leave any comments and stuff on them. I understand that it seems that your love language is very different. I understand that you like a word of affirmation. That's your love language, and it seems your husband, I don't know what his love language is, but he's not filling that love tank, that you have, and that can be a very serious problem. So I'm not saying you now. I'm saying the husband needs to make effort to be able to ensure. But blocking no.
And with long distance marriage, there's a lot of challenges that he has, especially theirs that has different. If people are doing long distance marriage in UK, US, FaceTiming will never be an issue because internet will not do kakaka. There's lights. There's that whenever we come on, we are on. I mean, look at this guy, this Taye Niger guy, and Tony Tones that they're doing on long distance marriage. They're able to communicate. They're constantly FaceTiming. She'll make hair. She can FaceTime and tell him that, oh, this is the hair, because that once I plug in, is there. But you people's own, you still have extra challenges because of location. Again, I think it's very important for the man to even like make an effort to respect that marriage, because long distance marriage relationship feeds on trust. It feeds on trust, and if that trust is broken, then somebody that you're seeing on a constant self, you need to constantly work on trusting each other. How much more when there's so much distance? And then she now comes to you, instead of you to make her feel safe, you now say,
you now
prove it. You know, it's like every thread that she's hanging on, everything that she's working on to make it, she's fighting for it. It's like you're just constantly, you're not even meeting her halfway. So in that area, I don't like that part. It is very frustrating to constantly make the effort, and then when you express, I hate not to be heard. That thing, I really don't like it.
Me too.
I don't like not to be heard. When you're expressing a concern, hear it. You hear it first, you act on it, but at least hear it. You know, not telling her to go and prove it. It's like, do your worst. You know, and it can break trust. So I don't agree with the man in that area.
I think you should have maybe just, it should have
obviously
very
he's
much
probably
better.
doing something dirty or something very disrespectful.
For me, I just feel like a guy commenting, oh, beautiful or nice looking in a friend's picture. Personally, I don't see that as, if I see my husband beautiful, you are beautiful, not
but he might not be doing something, but he's disrespecting the marriage
by blocking her. You know, why are you restricting your wife from seeing you? I mean, social media is one of the places where we can even keep in touch. Like, I can see what you're doing, I can see what you're up to, and all of that. So why now block her? What are you hiding? That's the one I can never understand. So I think you cannot avoid that conversation. You need to let him know, why did you restrict me? Why did you block me? You know, you need to unblock me. Like, what kind of marriage are we having? What exactly are you, you know? But you also, if he eventually does that, if you guys are able to get to that, don't nitpick on everything. Because I feel like the thing is coming from, he doesn't tell me I'm beautiful on my own post, but he's telling other women he's beautiful. It might be telling you you're beautiful to your face. I don't know, right? I think it doesn't, but we'll get to that. But I can see that it is some of the things that you are seeing him do to others, but he's not doing it to you, that is making you act that, you know, act that way, which, you know, is totally justified. But also try not to police going through all the comments that he's making on people's posts. I'm not saying that, you know, ignore if you see a red flag. No, if you see a red flag, investigate. But if there's nothing there, don't create something out of nothing, because men will naturally shut you out. You know, however, blocking you, no, that's something that should never be tolerated in your marriage, and you need to speak to him about that. You know, we cannot block. What are you hiding? Why? Like, no.